Were you surprised by Sam Elliott's comments?
I think Sam, look, what can I say?
So there's Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog. There's Jesse Plemons in The Power of the Dog. Sam compares them to the Chippendale.
I can only say that I'm sorry. And I am.
Man, there's new generations of kids that don't even know what a guy on a horse looks like.
World where straight white male was life. That was life. And so
in the next few minutes, you're gonna see how one man's opinion turned into an all-out war. We're talking Sam Elliott versus modern Hollywood, old school versus new school, and tradition versus progress.
Is this woman from...
Who, Jane Campion?
Yeah. She's a brilliant director, by the way. I love her work,
Right.
Previous work.
Sure.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You'll witness the fallout, the fury, and the final act where even the toughest cowboy has to swallow his pride. By the end, you might just see Hollywood and Sam Elliott in a whole new light. So Sam Elliott's got his cowboy hat in a twist over The Power of the Dog. What's his deal? Well, he went on Marc Maron's podcast and started mouthing off about the movie. He's all bent out of shape about how the cowboys look. Says they're running around in chaps with no shirts on, like some Chippendales dancers. I mean, come on, Sam. Since when are cowboys not allowed to show a little skin? But it ain't just about the outfits. Elliott's got his spurs in a bunch over the gay themes in the movie. He's going on about how it's not right.
Cowboys in that movie looked like. They're all running around in chaps and no shirts. There's all these illusions of homosexuality.
Like he's the official gatekeeper of what can and can't be in a Western. Who died and made him John Wayne? And get this, he's got some choice words for the director too. Jane Campion's her name, and Elliott's all worked up because she's a woman. And not just any woman, but one from New Zealand. He's asking, what the does this woman from down there know about the American West?
Does this woman from down there
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Right.
Know about the American West?
Like being American and having a pair is the only way you can make a Western. Give me a break. People aren't taking this lying down. Twitter's blowing up and Hollywood's giving Elliott the stink eye. But instead of backing down, he's doubling down. He's going on about how the movie's got illusions of homosexuality. Yeah, Sam, that's kind of the point. It's 2023, not 1953. So why's Elliott got his saddle in such a bunch? Well, it turns out old Sam's been playing cowboys his whole dang life. He's made a career out of being the rugged, manly man of the West. Maybe he can't handle someone messing with his image of what a cowboy should be.
world where straight white male was life. That was life. And so
maybe he's scared that if cowboys can be gay, or if women can direct Westerns, then what's left for guys like him? But here's the thing, the Western's changing, whether Elliott likes it or not.
with Marc Maron, as he gave his WTF reaction to 12-time Oscar nominee The Power of the Dog, directed by Jane Campion.
And if he can't keep up, he might just find himself left in the dust.
Were you surprised by Sam Elliott's comments?
I think Sam, look, what can I say?
Because let's face it, there's more than one way to be a cowboy and more than one way to tell a Western story. Elliott might not like it, but that's just how the West is won these days. You'd think a guy like Sam Elliott would know better than to pick a fight with Hollywood's new darling, but he did. And now the gloves are coming off. What happens when an old school cowboy goes up against the full force of modern Hollywood? It ain't pretty, let me tell you. Elliott's rant about the power of the dog got Hollywood talking all right, and they're not happy.
Creation of the American West. I mean, they made it look like, what are all those dancers, those guys in New York that wear bow ties and not much else?
Jane Campion, the director, she's not taking this lying down. She fired back, and boy, did she come out swinging. You know what she called Elliott? A little bitch. Ouch! That's gotta sting, even for a tough guy like Sam.
I'm sorry, he was being a little bit of a bitch. And I'm sorry to say it, but he's not a cowboy, he's an actor.
And it's not just Campion. Benedict Cumberbatch, the star of the movie, he's more polite about it, but you can tell he's not impressed with Elliott's take.
So there's Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog. There's Jesse Plemons in The Power of the Dog. Sam compares them to the Chippendale.
He called Elliott's remarks very odd and criticized the whole idea that Westerns can only show one kind of masculinity. Cumberbatch is saying, hey, times are changing and maybe it's time our movies change too. Other celebs are weighing in, and it seems like most of them are Team Campion. They're saying Elliott's comments are out of touch, maybe even a bit homophobic. And while all this is going down, The Power of the Dog is racking up awards left and right. Oscars, Golden Globes, you name it. Elliott's looking pretty out of touch, huh?
What occurs that, could this be a film that would be an Academy competitor or not? You know, you sort of know whether there's any chance at all.
But a ranch or pasture or farmhouse in Montana looks exactly the same as a ranch or pasture or farmhouse in New Zealand.
People are talking about representation in Westerns now. They're asking, why's it gotta be all straight white dudes on horses? Maybe there's room for different kinds of stories in the Wild West. And you know what? A lot of folks are saying it's about time. Now, Elliott's getting some support from the anti-woke crowd. They're saying he's standing up for traditional values or whatever. But is that really who he wants in his corner? Because from where I'm sitting, it's not looking good for old Sam. This whole thing's turned into a big debate about what stories we can tell and who gets to tell them. It's not just about one movie anymore. It's about Hollywood changing, about new voices getting heard, and it's about guys like Elliott learning that maybe, just maybe, they don't get to call all the shots anymore. So what made Sam Elliott finally eat his words?
And the West is a mythic space, and there's a lot of room on the range.
Room on the Range.
Turns out even tough guys can't handle the heat when Hollywood's gunning for them. Elliott finally came out and said sorry, admitting he'd hurt people with his big mouth.
I can only say that I'm sorry. And I am.
He even said the gay community has been good to him his whole career. Guess he realized he'd stepped in it big time. But here's the thing, the damage is done. Elliott might have said sorry, but you can't unring that bell. This whole mess shows how Hollywood's changing, whether old-timers like it or not.
Sam Elliott apologized for his homophobic and sexist comments about The Power of the Dog.
Man, there's new generations of kids that don't even know what a guy on a horse looks like.
It's not just about cowboys and westerns anymore. It's about who gets to tell stories and what kind of stories we want to see. Elliott learned the hard way that you can't just shoot your mouth off without consequences. Even if you're a big shot, you gotta watch what you say, cause in today's Hollywood, if you can't keep up with the times, you might just find yourself riding off into the sunset, and not in a good way.